Hello, good evening, good afternoon, depending where you are in the world. Welcome to Real Talk Tuesdays. My name is Kimmy Seltzer. If you are here for the first time, I am a dating strategist, confidence therapist, and image expert. I help people look and feel their best so they attract what they want. And often, a lot of people come to me to find love. And in the end, they end up finding love within themselves. And so, this is a brand new show. Some of you may know me from Charisma Quotient, which is my podcast of 8 years. And I've been doing it a long time. And I decided to finally do some other show that is live because a lot of people, may not be able to interact with me. I do live workshops all the time. And when I do the live workshops, I end up doing them where I can actually see you all and interface with you, but not everybody can come to my workshops. Actually, I have one tomorrow night. So remind me to remind you to be there. If you can hear me, see me, say hello in the chat. I just want to make sure that I am streaming live. We've been having some issues with this software. So say hi. I don't see your comments. So I just want to make sure. And I know there's some people. Oh, I see some people hopping on. Hello, hello. If you are here, say hello that you can see me, hear me. Again, this is Real Talk Tuesdays. And the reason why I call it Real Talk is because this is a chance for you to ask your dating questions, and I'm here to answer them. So please, the more questions you put in the chat, we can make this interactive and fun because most likely your question is somebody else's. And so the more that we do this, the better we all will be for it. And I really want to build a community here. Obviously, I have a huge community over at Charisma Quotient, but here's a chance where we can interact with each other live. And I will always be doing these 4 p.m. Pacific. And Eastern time, it'll be 7 p.m. And then join me on Thursdays in the studio where we talk reality TV and how that interfaces with real live dating advice. And I've been having my co-host Allison Melody, who has been helping me talk about the Golden Bachelor, and we're dissecting it episode by episode and how it applies to your real life. And it's super fun. So definitely join me there as well. And you can also ask me questions. And in the future, if you cannot join me live, you can go to datingrealtalk.com, submit your questions, and I will read them live here because, again, what is your question is probably other people's too. And so not only will you be getting information, but you'll be helping others do that. And so the format of every Tuesday is at the top of the show. I'm always going to start out with a topic that's kind of hot. I do a lot of free calls, and all of you are always invited to hop on a call with me. Just go to kimmyseltzer.com to do that. And really, it's to kind of have a breakthrough and maybe things that you're not aware of, what's really affecting your dating life. We all have hidden love shields, so to speak. And those love shields usually creates some blocks that prevents you from having success in this area of your life. And what a hot topic has been, yes, we all have fears, we all have different things, but one of the things that people are complaining with is, Kimmy, I don't know where to go, how to be, or what to do to meet eligible people who are my age. Hi, Ellie. Thanks for joining me. So if that is you, definitely put in the chat. Yes, I agree. It is so difficult. I want you to start thinking about questions around this topic. So I want to get into maybe what is making it so difficult for you to find someone. And in particular, if you are dating after 40 or dating in the second act, as I call it, this is where it gets even harder, right? Because no longer are we in college where you have the social infrastructure of your social life and it's just easy, right? Where you can go to parties and mix and mingle. Now everybody has different lives. Everybody is in different stages in your life. And so it is hard to navigate. And then on top of it, modern dating looks very different than it did, 30 years ago. So what happens to a lot of people is that they have desire to go out and meet people, but they don't know what to do. So that's the first one, or where to go. And then I have a slew of people who are saying, well, I see a lot of people, I meet a lot of people, but they're not my type. I'm not attracted to them, or I don't even know if they're eligible, kind of thing. So, I mean, all of those things make dating hard. But one of the things that I take pride in and what I'm determined to do with all of you is how to make dating fun. Because when you find that dating is fun, that is when opportunities start happening everywhere you go. Because here's the truth, there are chances to meet a woman or a man everywhere. You want to know where to go? They're at the coffee shop, they're at the grocery store, they are waiting for their car at the valet, they're at the Home Depot store, they're at Whole Foods, they're everywhere. But what happens to all of you is that you're getting so compartmentalized with your dating life is that you forget that dating is an energy, that you shouldn't be just like going on this device and saying, no, I'm dating, now I'm swiping. Yes, this is one way, this is one portal, but it really is more about where you put yourself and the energy that you have with it. And here's the thing, there's never just one thing. I was having a call with someone today, and we were uncovering just different aspects of her life and what was making it difficult and hard. And I think she was searching for the answer. But there isn't one answer. I'm not a cookie cutter approach coach. And people who know me, Allie, you know this about me, is that it's not one size fits all. It's not just do this and then this will happen. We are all at different ages, we are all at different stages, and we all have patterns that we've developed over time that has caused us to have a certain role when we are seeking a partner. And that all affects us when we're going out there and dating. It's funny, the woman that I was talking to, like as we were uncovering it, she's like, well, I don't get it. Like I try to go out there, I go to happy hour by myself. I put myself in situations where, there's men that I want to meet, but nobody's approaching me. And I said, "Oh, well, that's interesting." And she's like, "Yeah, I mean, I try to, strike up conversation, but it doesn't matter where she is. Something is happening where she's not approachable." So as we were uncovering more, it turns out that a lot of it had to do with her body language. A lot of it had to do with her being a high achiever and being so target specific and vetting people so hard that she would only turn her light on to people that maybe she was attracted to. So she's been kind of walking through life or going on dates, almost being too intentional, vetting way too hard. And that has been closing her off to possibilities. How many of you who are listening to this happens, where this happens? Um, and oh, I love the questions are coming in already. What is the age range of people dating here? I mean, it runs the gamut. I've helped people all the way from 18 to 85. And I always joke and tell the story that I helped an 85-year-old woman flirt with somebody at a bar, and he got her number and they started dating. So age is of no consequence. But I will say there are different nuances with each age group, right? Like we have, people in their 20s, that might be different than people in their 30s and different from 40 plus, because your goals are different. You're in a different stage of life. That's why I'm saying it isn't just, a black and white or clean answer here. But the reality is when you're really intentional and you create a dating plan where you're putting yourself out there in many different ways, It's a numbers game. Things are bound to happen. So I'm actually doing a workshop tomorrow, and it's how to meet people in real life. If you're interested, you just go to stophating.com, stophatingdating.com. As you can see, I have that in my URL because every one of you just hate dating, because dating should be fun. And we're going to go over just different ways that you can meet people. But beyond that, I really want to focus on something here, and that has to do with your body language. How many of you are aware of your body language? I mean, this woman that I was talking to, she had no awareness. She's like, "Well, I think I smile." But then when I was like asking her about her dates, she admitted that she tends to lean back, that she doesn't touch any of her dates, that she's a little bit stiff. And even as she's walking through life, she's walking really fast. How many of you relate to that? And what she didn't understand or realize, that she's been almost like leading with her cerebral energy and trying to vet so hard to try to find the right guy who would be eligible, who would be someone she would be attracted to, that she is actually closing herself off to people who are probably awesome for her. And energetically, she's been closing things off with her body language and even the way she's been withholding some things. So, a lot of times when you are out and about and maybe are thinking a lot, and here's the thing, a lot of you that are thinking a lot, your eyes might be going up or you're in your phone, and you have this almost like tunnel vision, and you're like pulling within. You're not even realizing the person next to you. And so, what I want to share with you is how important body language and energy is when meeting people. Yeah, I can tell you, oh, go to Irwan because the lanes are really small and it forces you to have conversation. Allie and I were talking about that last week's episode. I think it's intentional, to be honest. I think they do this on purpose so that you are forced to talk to one another. So, proximity is something that I teach all the time. You have to be close to people in order to talk to people. Yeah, I could tell you to, if you're a woman, go to Home Depot, because that's where a lot of men are hanging out, and you can play with your tools and act like you need help. Men will definitely be talking to you. So there's all these techniques, right? But all of that doesn't matter. I could give you a list of 20 places to go to. All of that doesn't matter if your energy and your body language is closed. And if you, in fact, are in a negative energy and closed down. So if you've been talking about how much you hate dating, or if you're going into a restaurant and you're cackling with your girlfriends, how much, you hate dating, there's no good guys out there and that kind of thing, y'all, that leaks. Your body language is oozing negativity, and your body language is totally closing your like energy field. So no one's going to be approaching you. And here's the thing, both men and women have a responsibility with approachability. It is not just a man's job to approach a woman. Ladies, you have to be open for business. You have to give signals, and I mean strong smoke signals, SOS smoke signals, that you are open, that you are available, and most of all, that you're not scary. Because the truth is, and men, if you are here, you can back me up. Men are way more scared of approaching us than we are of them. And they are looking for that signal. Now, there are different zones. And in my workshop tomorrow, I will be going over a little bit of like the different zones in your body and the certain signals that it might portray. But overall, I invite all of you to really think about that. Like, are you leaning in on your dates? Are you touching an arm or two while you laugh? Guys, are you comfortable in your body? Are you actually looking at the woman when she's talking to you? Or are you, and here's the thing that I find so funny, and men, I always talk about this in my workshops, is that men don't want to be creepy, right, guys? Like, men They are so scared of approaching a woman. And now look, we are in this stage with the Me Too movement and everything that's going on in the world where like nice guys don't want to make moves because they don't want to come across as creepy or do the wrong thing. But here's the thing, in your efforts, guys, of you not being creepy, guess what? You're creepy. Right? Like now we feel you lurking in the dark in the background, just staring at us. So we are all at a stalemate. The truth is, like everywhere and anywhere are chances to meet people. But what good is it being in an island full of people or eligible people if you're not open, if you're not approachable, or more importantly, if you're scared? And how is your fear showing up in your body language? I often tell this story too. There was a woman I was coaching and she never dated. And she had a relationship, but she never dated. And when I was out with her, and for those of you who don't know me, I'm kind of like Hitch meets What Not to Wear, if you know those references. So people actually, they call me Hitchette. So when I go out on the town, I am helping people flirt. I look at, how people interact. And when I was watching her talk to men, she was literally backing up. So the men would get closer and then she would like pull back. And often there was a space like this big between her and the man. And I pulled her aside. I said, "Do you realize every time a guy's trying to like talk to you and get close to you, you back up?" And she's like, "Oh my gosh, I had no idea that I did that." And it turns out a lot of it was fear of not knowing what she was doing, fear of getting hurt before, like she was in her last relationship. And so, a lot of the things that go on in the body, it's amazing to me that it's all imprinted from maybe our past experiences. There's another thing or another example I often talk about where there was a guy who and actually if he's out there listening, Doug, he just got married, so it's a happy ending, but I always talk about it. And he came on my other podcast, Charisma Quotient, to tell the story. When we first went out together, every time he would talk to a pretty woman, he would take his right hand and he would put it across his body and hold his left arm, and it looked super weird. He looked scared, he looked anxious, and it was only to women that he was attracted to. So he did it once, it was kind of weird. Did it twice, made note. 3 times, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, dog, we have to talk." I said, "Do you realize every time you're talking to a pretty woman, you're doing this?" He said, "I had no idea." Well, we traced it back when he was 7 years old. When he would get reprimanded from his mom was kind of demonstrative, he would do this. So there was something about being in the presence of a powerful woman that caused that body response and him feeling anxious. So again, we can't see what we can't see. And that's why I love like doing my retreats or working with people in time, because it's like a mirror. We don't know how we're coming across. And maybe if you're not meeting anyone, there's something about your energy that's telling people, "I'm not available," or "I'm scared," or "I'm anxious." And people are attracted to people who they feel like almost like comfortable in their body, right? Like there's an ease. There's something that just makes, that person want to go talk to that person. So it could be a smile, it could be eye contact. And then there's definitely tricks that I teach in my workshops on like flirty techniques with the body language. And so you can be intentional too. Like some of it is subconscious and some of it is just like a technique that maybe you learn. I had to learn the hard way. I always throw myself under the bus. I didn't know how to flirt when I first got divorced. And I went out with this group of girls. I call them Sex in the City girls. And we literally every week practiced the art of flirting. and we were intentional. And I watched all my friends do different body language stuff, and they all did different things. I mean, one girl kind of twirled her hair, she did the googly eyes, and another girl, like, she just did it with her eyes, and one girl, she was just more like, in her queen type of energy. And I just kind of took an ingredient from each of them, I mixed it in a bowl, and I made it my own. There is not one technique that is just the answer for you. I think more importantly, the first thing you got to ask yourself is, are you aware of how you feel in your body? Are you comfortable? And here's one more thing, and I see everybody is chatting. I love you here. Oh, Steven, thanks for chiming in. Is that when you are thinking about just like your own awareness of your body, are you also self-conscious of what your body is? Anybody who is dating later in life, like, let's face it, I mean, some you women are going through menopause, your body's changing. Men, maybe your body isn't what it used to be. Like, we all have shifts that go on. And this was something that a woman that I was talking about before I got on was saying. She's like, it used to be really easy for me. I had a cute body. I would put on a cute dress and go out the door, and then men would just come and flock to me. Well, is it just because you were young and in that weight? Or was it just this sexy confidence that you exuded in your body that was so attractive? And that's what I always, and I'm so passionate about doing with people, is really helping people look in the mirror and love what they see, no matter what size, shape, age, ethnicity, it doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, it's not about the man, it's not about the woman, it is about you. And it isn't until you're aware of yourself, you're looking in the mirror, you know what you got going on. That's when you become that magnet. Like, if you're somebody who really wants to be that magnet that walks into the room and just, you know, attracts all these people and they come flocking to you, you can be that person. You just got to turn it on. There is somebody for everybody. And it's all about your belief system and also how you see yourself. It's super, super, super important. All right. So I know I've been chatting a lot, and I see a lot of people have comments, questions. All right, let's get to it. And then I have some people who wrote in, so we'll see how far we get. Steven, thank you for all these questions. All right, I'm just reading those. Wait, we had a question about, okay. Oh, the bars. Do people still meet at bars, or is that gauche? um, yes, people still meet at bars. Okay, here's the thing, and this kills me. I'm glad you asked this question, because if you're over 40, I get a lot of pushback, and people say, "Oh, I'm too old to go to the bars. I don't want to, go where other people, or I don't want to attract another alcoholic. I already had that." Like, I hear all this stuff. Here's the thing. It doesn't matter your age. Remember, I told you, I went to a bar with an 85-year-old woman and she picked up a really great guy at the bar. It's really about being around people and in an environment that feels like your tribe. Okay? But it's what you do in that environment that's important. So, say that you don't drink. It's not about the drink. It's about being amongst a social environment where you have the opportunity and chances to actually interact with each other. And I love the bar because, you're in close proximity with everybody. And usually it's kind of social and you can just talk to the people next to you. But here's the thing. Are you talking to people? Again, I could put you on Paradise Island, like in The Bachelor. I can put you with the best environment with all these people who are just your type. But what are you doing with it? Right? Or maybe you're a little introverted. Maybe you're not flirting. Maybe you don't have the body language that is, almost like inviting that conversation. if that makes sense. So, yes, the bars are great. And I will say, if you don't find anybody at the bars, then go to another bar. Try a different time. So, time zones are very important, and the time that you put yourself in the bar. It's never a good idea, probably, to go at a bar at 9 p.m. You know who is going to the bars at 9 p.m. Now, if you're in your 20s, yes, go to a bar at 9 p.m. because probably people your age are hanging out, and that's great. But as the night goes on, that's when people start drinking more and that kind of thing. So, this is why I call myself a dating strategist more than a coach, more than a therapist, even though I'm all those things, is because it does take strategy and intention. So when you plan, you have strategy, you have an approach, and all of those things are in place, things start happening. I promise. So that was a great question. All right, what else? Oh, I'd say bars are good during events, conferences when you know there are mature people there and people a certain industry. Yeah, Aria, that's a great comment. I love business conferences. People often think, "Oh, well, I'm doing business there, so I can," that's not. I shouldn't flirt there. Oh my God, no. Here's the thing: flirting is an energy. I believe you should always flirt. And if you remember the definition of flirting and then you look at it in the dictionary, people who have taken my workshops know this. I say it all the time. It is to behave as though you are attracted to someone without the serious intention of an outcome. You're not thinking about what's next. You're creating a buzz, you're creating an energy. Now, when you're in a business conference, if you turn on your cab light and you get to know people as people, first of all, people will want to do business with you because at the end of the day, it's not so much what you know, it's how a person feels when they're with you. I'll say that again. It's not about what you know, it's about how someone feels when they're with you. So, whether someone wants to move on with you about business or dating, it's all the same. So I instructed one of my clients who went to this political conference every Tuesday. It was kind of her, well, not really a conference. It was like a meeting. She was heavy into the politics. And she's like, "Well, Kimmy, it's not appropriate to, try to date people at this place." Well, I challenged her. I said, "Next time you go, I want you to put on a dress that makes you feel a little more social and flirty. And instead of talking about politics, talk about fun things, talk about personal things." That night, she met another wing gal that she could go out with, and she got asked out. It was a big lesson to her. So I love, Aria, that you said that because, yeah, there's a chance to meet everybody. All right. What is the strategy? Not sure what you are referring to, but a strategy meaning I put together dating plans and strategy plans for different people. So, for instance, if you live in New York, your strategy is going to be different than maybe someone who lives in rural Montana, right? And you have to think outside the box. If you're not meeting people in the areas that you are going to, or maybe all you're doing is swiping and you're not also balancing it out with IRL or real life situations, then you're reducing your chances. So if things aren't working for you, do something different. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result or magical people just walking in front of you. Go out the door and maybe even explore something that's kind of goofy or fun. Here's another thing I will add, and this is actually a whole other workshop and part of the flirt workshop that I do often is, are you being playful? We're all in such a serious world. And this is part of the body language too. So you can be mechanical about it and learn certain hacks about your body language. But are you having fun? Are you being goofy? Are you being playful? Like at my retreats, I make, my ladies put on cat ears and go out in the field and talk to strangers and do goofy things. Like that's not easy. But then they come back with laughter and having fun and saying, "Oh my gosh, I haven't laughed this much in years." The other thing that we know, and studies prove this, is that the number one trait that most people are looking for isn't how successful someone is. It isn't how intellectual somebody is. I mean, those are values and things that people look for. It's part of a chemistry that is involved. But the number one trait, and this will surprise you, is the sense of fun, a sense of actually being like playful. And I was surprised to read that study because you would think that that wouldn't be as high on the list. But if you think about it, kids on the playground, everyone's playing. The boys are chasing the girls. There's this laughter and this goofiness that people have. And you all are getting so tripped up on what to say. It's not even the words that you choose, but maybe the playfulness that you have with the conversation. So instead of talking about work, and please do not talk about work. Everybody who knows me knows that I harp on this because you all get in that busy, serious energy and then you start talking about work. And I'm sorry, but that is boring. You can talk about work at work, right? The best conversations sometimes are ones that are nonsensical. The ones that don't even like make sense, that are goofy and that you're laughing or maybe telling a story or playing a game. That, next time somebody asks you what you do for a living, play a guessing game. Say, what do you think I do? What do you think I do? And that I do that all the time. And it's so much fun. First of all, it's fun to see what they guess of you. And, every time I do that game with people, I never end up saying what I do because no one really cares. They just care that we were having so much fun with the guessing game. Think about that. Okay, so vibrant meditations, that is my answer to the strategy, is that there isn't just one strategy. It's not one size fits all. There's many different strategy. Okay. What else? Any other questions that you all are having? This is a good conversation. If not, I will read then some that you said. Oh, Allison. Apparently, I tell you that you toss your hair. Yes, I do. That was on our last episode last Thursday because it's actually a body language thing. Is that when women play with their hair, it shows attraction, and actually men will play with their hair too when they're attracted to a woman. Some of it's subconscious, but what I was saying before is you can also be intentional with it too. And then Allie was saying, I don't play with my hair. And I said, yeah, you do. And because again, sometimes we don't know what we don't know. The next online workshop is tomorrow. So this is really good timing. It's tomorrow and it's how to meet people in real life, IRL. It's 4 p.m. Pacific time, just like this time, and 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you are interested in attending, I still have spots left. Just go to stophatingdating.com and register. So if you like this kind of live interaction, it's even more so because you'll get a chance to chat with everybody. We do breakout rooms. We practice with one another. It is super fun, super informative. So definitely come. All right. I'm going to read a question that I got from someone who could not be here tonight, but I think it applies to what we're talking about and everyone might have it. This person, I think it's a man. Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is from Mark. Kimmy, I haven't dated in years. And honestly, I feel like a fish out of water. Where do I start to put myself out there? And then he said, I have tried the dating apps and they just don't work. Okay. Well, here's the thing. You got to start somewhere. And if you are dating after 40, there's a high likelihood, Mark, and I don't know who you are, that maybe you just never dated for the sake of dating. And if that is true, and if that is you, my opinion, and this is something that I talked about last Tuesday, is that you need a period of time where you're just dating up a storm without getting attached. But really what you're doing is dating yourself. You're getting to know yourself separate from being in a relationship, because a lot of times people go out there and they jump into relationship mode rather than dating mode. And it's different. It's actually different. So don't get discouraged. I love that you started with the dating apps. I'd be curious on what is not working for you. And again, it's never just one thing. I know a lot of you are just burnt out from the dating apps. And I believe that the dating apps still work, but what I do suggest is to not be so dependent on it. And I think, when you're so busy and it's later in life, it's just easy to pick up the phone and it's easier to go on an app than to actually go out the door. I get it. But for the very reason it's hard for you to get out the door is the very reason why you should. Because are you exercising your social muscle? Are you exercising your flirt muscle? Because if you haven't dated in a while or if you've been out of it, you're most likely your flirt muscle is a little atrophied, or maybe you just never did it. Maybe you just got married really young. You didn't have to try. You married your high school sweetheart, and here you are. Oh my God, where do I go? So don't give up. And just because the apps aren't working, get help. Like I was reviewing somebody's profile actually yesterday. And so funny because she's like, I don't really know. Like I had somebody write my profile, like nobody's responding. And when I did an audit, and I do these audit sessions, I went in and I'm looking and oh my God, I saw a ton of problems. Like, and again, she didn't know what she didn't know. I mean, some of the things she wrote was all wrong. There were certain settings that she had that was definitely killing her chances. But most importantly, OMG, her conversations were awful. So I had to give her a few tips on, how to engage in a conversation, how to be more flirty. I mean, she was having these like lengthy conversations. And each bubble, like when you do DM exchanges and there's those bubbles, each bubble was like an email. I'm like, oh my God, dear Lord, like you're doing like a Dear Abby. Ellie, you and I talked about that in an episode. These just lengthy responses. And really the DMs should be more like conversational. But she didn't know again. So there might be some blind spots and things in the profile that could be improved that will really create better success and chances. Okay. So that was a great question. Any other questions live before I go to the next one? This is good conversation. Okay. The other one that I have is that, oh, this is a good one. This is from a woman. What can I do when negative self-talk creeps in? I'm thinking that I'm too busy, too old, I'm not attractive. Like she's having, I guess, a lot of monkey chatter go on in her head that actually prevents her from just doing anything and freezing. Oh my God, this is such a common thing that I help people with. As some of you may know, I have a dating retreat, and I do dating retreats, but I have one coming up in November. I do have like one spot left at anyway. And it's listening and interested. It's co-ed, and one of the things that I find is that if you are a high achiever and you tend to be outcome oriented, and maybe you're a little more of an introvert and left brainer, that's why dating, interacting, being approach is super, super hard because you're in your head a lot. That's how you rule. You're very cerebral, right? But part of flirting and dating and connecting actually happens in the right brain. And so if you also are somebody who you're like thinking all the time, and that also takes you out of the present state, you're in your head so much that you're not really connecting or you're hesitating. You're either not connecting or you're hesitating. And that gap actually prevents that first impression of a connection. Because maybe you're slow to warm up, you're thinking about all these things, you might have like negative talk, whatever is going on in your brain and your head. And that gap will, like, you'll almost like miss that opportunity. And sometimes, like, if you're on a date and you're having negative self talk and you're worried about like what other people think or feel about you, then that is more of a confidence issue from within. And that also prevents you from putting yourself out there in that sexy, confident way. And so your date might not feel you. They might just misread you, so to speak. And so it's super important if this is something that you struggle with to really get practice at closing the gap so that you're walking into the room, you're not worried about what other people think. You're worried more about what's in the moment, being present, really talking to people. I have this whole social engagement formula that I teach people on how to get out of their heads and into something that is more playful, like with storytelling and more connected in the present moment. And it's super powerful because yeah, that's tough. How many of you listening might be getting in your head? Anybody relate to that? Because that is something real. And it could be for various reason. It could be like you're having a bad hair day, right? Like it could be just that day. Oh, and that's another thing. If we're not liking what we look like, that could even affect the way that we just walk out there in the world. We may not like our outfit or we don't like our hair, or again, like what I was talking about before, we don't feel comfortable in our body. That might prevent us from putting ourselves out there. And if that is you, like taking a look at that, giving yourself time and grace and appreciation for you, make sure that you're feeling positive, you're feeling good about yourself before you go out the door, before you go out on that date. And and this is really important, do not go right from a business meeting to a date or to a social event. I know there's sometimes you can't help it. Your schedules might be very busy, but it goes back to what we were talking about in the beginning of this, is that your presence, your body language is sending a message to the world. And if you are in your head, busy, 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 walking through the world really fast, you're going to go into your date, into your social event with that frenetic energy or that masculine energy if you're a woman, or that serious energy that just isn't inviting. So give yourself time in between your social life and your business life, or if you're stressed out, you're not feeling good, give yourself time to just get in that positive state. And, I teach a lot of my clients to have a date prep plan where they're doing something that helps them get into a positive mood and more in their body so that when it is time to turn it on, you are completely ready. You're completely ready and date ready. So super important. Awesome, awesome. All right. Any other questions before we wrap up? I'm going to try to go live at least for, a half hour to 45 minutes. If we're having a good conversation, I don't mind staying on for an entire hour. This is really fun for me, and the more that you are conversational with me, I just have more incentive to stay on. That's all. But again, if you are just joining me now, if this is the first time you're joining me, I do this every Tuesday. It's called Real Talk Tuesdays. It's part of my new show called Dating Real Talk, where reality TV meets real life dating advice. I also go live in the studio on Thursdays, also the same time, 4 p.m. Pacific, where I have my lovely co-host Allison Melody help me talk about different reality shows and how we can take lessons from that. So if you like what you saw here and you want to see just some more interaction, we have some amazing guests coming up, y'all. Like I am not going to reveal yet, but we have some really cool people coming on the show in a couple weeks to come. So tune in, subscribe, go to datingrealtalk.com, and that's where you'll get all the updates. And if you can't make it live, you can see the replays and also submit your questions, because I will read them live. And that way, at least you can get some answers to maybe things that you are struggling with. So with that, I want to thank you all so much for being here live. And I'm excited to keep going with this and build it. So keep it real, keep it safe, and keep it flirty. That's all for now. I'll see you.